lots of people. So
Nice. Well, thanks everybody for joining. So many like punctual people right here at 7:30.
yeah,
Bless you all. I'm
absolutely.
so glad you're
Let's
here.
go.
So we are getting ready to pull Karishma in, and we are super excited to talk to Karishma Manzur. This is our first time meeting her and speaking to her. So Arya and I are working together and trying to use this platform to bring some of these progressive candidates to the TikTok platform. You know, we are so lucky to like be part of this New Hampshire talk community, and I think we're going to be really powerful as a group headed into this next election. I think that we're a really engaged group of people, and I think that's super cool. And let's use that collective power we have, right? So I'm super excited. Karishma's coming on to talk to us today. Um, Aria, any thoughts before we pull her in?
No, I just think besides the timing, I think it's a great timing that we got her right after we got Jared. Right, Jared is exploring a possible run in that seat, and I think having someone else in that seat who's already she has announced that she's running, she's past the exploring, so it's going to be really good to hear what she has to say and where she feels like we're all a little bit sick of the Democratic Party, right? I mean, even nationwide. So we're desperate to hear what she's going to bring to the table, what she's going to, what plan she has against Chris Pappas for that seat. I think is very important.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'm trying to pull up our guest list, and then I'm going to pull Karishma in as well. And then I've got
And
like
yeah, if you guys have in the chat, if you guys have questions, post them. I'm gonna try to look through them. I'm sure Marissa's too, and we'll try to get some questions in, official questions in for you guys too.
yeah, exactly. So feel free to pop the question. Hey, Karishma, I might need to update. Hold on one second. I might need to update you so you can put your video on. Hold on one second. Can you hear us though, Karishma?
I can, yes.
Hey, awesome. All right, we
But is
got
it
audio.
something
That's half the
is it
battle.
something I have to do at my end? Do you know?
No, I think it might be on my side, but hold on one second. I might need to get my crap real quick. So give me one second, guys. I might have to pop out for one.
Karishma, do you have a little symbol, like a camera symbol on your screen?
Would that be, tell me where that would be.
That would be like right at the bottom. There would be like a camera symbol and then like a microphone symbol right next to each other.
Uh, I see.
Bottom. There would be like a camera symbol and then like a microphone.
Hello.
Oh, there's
Back.
Marissa again.
The camera symbol.
All right. Here we go. Camera.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Cool.
Do I just
See,
say
the
safe?
people who show up on time,
Perfect.
yay! Yeah. The people who show up on
Fun.
time for lives, they do it so they can get that real authentic view of like the 30 seconds where somebody like me is like, where's the button to do this thing?
So
How
I'm
are
not
you
wearing
doing,
my
Karishma?
AirPods. Can you guys, I didn't put on my AirPods. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you
Absolutely,
can
for sure.
listen. And let us know in the chat always if our audio is off. So thank you so much for being here. You are having probably an insane week. You just announced you run for Senate. Tell us a little bit about like just as a human being, what the heck the last like week of your life has been like, because I imagine it's been nuts.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we launched on Wednesday. Is there an echo or are you guys okay with it?
No, I think we're good.
We're
Okay.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
So we launched on Wednesday. We had a great party. It was a lot of fun. These are folks who have been working on the campaign for months, and so finally we got a chance to relax. And then since then, there have been several interviews. I've been a lot of articles, and I went to an event a couple of days ago, and people were like, "I know you," and I'm like, "Oh, thank God, yes, yes." You know me, so it's been amazing, an amazing experience. And then also, we went on Wednesday. Last Wednesday we published our website, so we have had over like 150 people already interested in either volunteering or somehow supporting us. It's been amazing, so I'm really happy. Thank you.
That is so glad to hear. I'm so glad to hear that. I think people are very like enthusiastic to see see this race really heating up. I think there's a huge appetite for some competition here and for some healthy debate and some healthy conversation. So maybe to kick us off, I think a lot of folks are coming into this very fresh to you. So tell us a little bit about what brings you to this campaign and why you decided to run for office at this point.
Sure. So let me just briefly introduce myself. So because a lot of you may not know me. So my name is Karishma Manzur. I live in Exeter. Let's see. I'm a scientist and I love science. I've loved my job I've done it for about 20 years. I absolutely loved it. But one of the reasons I loved it was because at the end of the day, you felt like you have done something to help people. It's like a service. It's a public service position. Scientists don't make a lot of money. We are happy if we have a mortgage, maybe own a car. We're not going in there to make money. There's a lot of heartfelt, it's just a really wonderful feeling that, okay, I advanced a treatment because people need it. So that was going on for a long time. I was happy. I lived in Exeter with my husband, my 2 children. But over the course of a couple of years, I realized that there are so many people in America, millions of Americans, who will never be able to access the treatment because they don't have health insurance. Or even if they have health insurance, the private insurance companies are basically denying coverage for so many treatments and so many medicine. And the copays are too high. It was disheartening. Like, how can, in the richest country in the world, people not have health insurance? And if they do have health insurance, why is that such a limited coverage? So I started to transition away from medical research, and I started to move into the nonprofit sector. I was on the board of New Hampshire Peace Action, and now I'm still on the board of New Hampshire Ranked Choice Voting and New Hampshire Open Democracy. And I'll talk a little bit about open democracy in a second, but in the process, I realized it's not that we cannot afford to provide for our citizens. The problem is that there is so little political courage to pass true legislative policies that will really help the people. So anyway, I started to move away from science into nonprofit work, from nonprofit work into legislative action. And then I realized it is not enough to just vote for a Democrat or elect a Democrat. You have to elect the right Democrats. And so here I am.
No, that's fantastic. It's so nice to meet you, Karishma. I've read a lot about you as well, and I, just touching a little bit more on your healthcare background. You were talking about legislation and policy. If you were to become senator tomorrow, what do you think the number one healthcare policy or piece of legislation that you can think right away would help Americans, like right away? Like on day one of your run as senator.
We have to pass Medicare for all, Arya. We have to pass Medicare for all. There is no other way we can have this $5 trillion system that we have. We're spending $5 trillion on healthcare, and yet millions of Americans don't have healthcare coverage or millions have inadequate coverage. We need to get for-profit insurance companies. We have to get rid of that. Healthcare should not be a for-profit system. And let me give you an example. There are some systems we have gotten used to it, like the fire department. That is not a for-profit institution. We're like, yeah, that makes sense. Why should it be for-profit? It's there when we need it. Hopefully we will never need it, but when the house is on fire, I'm glad there's a fire service out there. Mm-hmm. Same as with police. Police should not be a for-profit system. It should not be only accessible for people who can afford it. It is, we have it to protect our community. Similarly, healthcare. Healthcare should not be a for-profit industry. We need to get rid of the for-profit hospitals, for-profit insurance companies, and these high prices that pharmaceutical companies and device companies are charging us. So Medicare for All is the only piece of legislation out there that will cover all Americans and will be cheaper than what we have right now. This $5 trillion system, which is inadequate, Medicare for All, if we passed it today, would be $650 billion cheaper than our $5 trillion system. So it's a no-brainer.
That's great. And there was one other, and I mean, it goes without saying, I completely agree with you. As someone who is, I I deal with Crohn's disease myself. It's something that I was born with, obviously, something I was diagnosed with, something I have no control over. And I have seen, I mean, it's such a weird place to be when you're not eligible for some of these, for Medicare or Medicaid, and you're not making enough money to kind of like survive off of it. So someone with your background and your education, I feel like would be really important. And the one other piece that I saw in your background was your work with ranked choice voting and your position on ranked choice voting, which anyone who has ever done any reading or, studying on ranked choice voting knows that it should be the system that is kind of used. And I was hoping you could explain a little bit, maybe to the people who don't know what that is. We don't have that here in New Hampshire. Obviously, it's something I would love to have here in New Hampshire. But if you can just talk a little bit about what that is and what exactly you have done for ranked choice voting.
So right now we have two major parties. I mean, we have several other third parties, but they have never won a seat, right? There are two independent senators, and so independent legislators are out there. But we have never had a Green Party candidate win a major seat, or a Libertarian, et cetera. So really, we are just a two-party system. So what happens when you go to in November, you go to vote, and you only have two choices, and you're like, okay, wow, who do I vote for? Sometimes you say, I'll vote for the lesser of two evils. I mean, it's so sad that we even have to think like that, right? So ranked, and the reason we have this is because we are constantly asking people to make a single choice, right? So in a ranked choice voting, so say in New Hampshire, what we would like is an open primary. It is not that when you go to the polling station and they ask you, do you want a blue piece of paper or a red piece of paper? We're not going to have that. We would like to have just one open primary. So you go in, you look at all the people who are running in the primary, and you get to vote, and we are hoping it'll be like 5 choices. So maybe 5 people are running or 10 people are running, but you're not choosing one person. You're ranking 5 people, the top 5 choices. What it will do is, first of all, it allows voters to have more of a say. It's not a binary choice. It's going to have more of a say. The second thing is, when candidates know that they are basically going to be ranked, they're not going to be as divisive. Because right now our politics is so negative. The Republican Party wants to drag their voters to one direction. The Democratic Party wants to drag their voters to the other direction, and we all are supposed to hate each other. I don't want to hate people. We don't want to hate people. I live in a neighborhood with Republicans, Democrats. We're all getting along, and yet we're being told, no, you have to actually, they're the evil ones. So ranked choice voting will basically take away all that kind of divisiveness. So you, Arya, you'll walk in, if all goes well, and we pass it in New Hampshire, and I'll tell you what we're doing in New Hampshire. You'll walk into the booth on primary day. You will not be asked, oh, are you an independent who wants to vote in a Republican or a Democratic primary, or et cetera. So you'll get one ticket. Everyone just gets one ticket. You'll see all the candidates that are on that list, and you will rank them. And did you want me to explain the ranked choice voting system, or just basically?
I think that was good. I love what you
absolutely.
said there too. I love what you said about how it helps candidates behave a little bit better too. I think we're in such a polarized moment that anything that can bring people back to a more human level where we sort of treat each other as human beings, I think is a great thing to do. I want to kind of keep moving because we have a lot of questions from the community.
Yeah.
People are super excited to talk to
For
you.
sure.
So we've been kind of collecting.
By APAC, I'll give it out. Let me take it out. I am never going to accept any money from APAC. Period. I hope that answers. I saw that question pop up.
That's actually where I was. Yeah, I was gonna ask you to speak a little bit more about that more broadly. Let's talk a little bit about. Obviously, this has been a hot topic of conversation around these parts here on TikTok, specifically about how much of our representation is accepting a lot of money from APAC, and also voting in a way that continues to cause destruction. We're seeing an humanitarian crisis in Gaza. So can you talk a little bit about your perspective on what we're seeing happening over there and how that's impacting where your money is coming from as you approach this run for Senate.
Right. So sometimes, okay, I'm not going to get emotional because the scenes that are coming out, we're all humans. When we see another person suffering, or these skeletal bodies, or I don't want to become, we're seeing body parts, it is, we are social animals. We're supposed to protect each other across the nation. It doesn't matter if we're different religions, different races, different nationalities. We have this innate need to protect each other. So when those scenes are coming out, it's just, I'm gonna get emotional. Anyways, it's insane.
Normal.
It's refreshing to see somebody actually like have that level of emotion. Yeah.
So it's been what, 2 years almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the cruelty is unacceptable. Our complicity in it is unacceptable. We have actually funded this genocide. Our taxpayer dollars are funding this genocide.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. I'll just jump in to give you a moment, but I have a 3-year-old child, and so I see photos and videos as well, and it just obviously it haunts everyone. You don't have to be a parent to have it impact you, but it's really, this summer has been just really like weighing on me heavy of our money is going there, and our representatives are continuing, our Democratic representatives are continuing to vote for this, and I think a lot of us are feeling, maybe I don't want to speak for anyone else, I'm feeling very disturbed by the lack of urgency around this matter from our representation. And I think that they're underestimating how much it matters to people. How is that? Do you see that coming up in your conversations as well?
So you have to remember, I was on the board of New Hampshire Peace Action. And so New Hampshire Peace Action, we are basically, we want peace and democracy across the world. I'm still a member. I'm just not on the board anymore because it's just too much work running a campaign and trying to be on the board of 3 different organizations. I will tell you how many people in New Hampshire, Marissa and Arya, over the last 2 years have written to our Congress members, have called our Congress members, have stood outside the offices of our Congress members. The number of hours and hours of this painful process, and yet it has been very difficult to move them. I will admit Senator Shaheen has been much more responsive, and so I do applaud Senator Shaheen, and so we should appreciate when a senator or a representative does listen to us, listens to the constituents. But it has been extremely difficult. And you see what happened in the UNH in Dartmouth. Children are looking to us adults and saying, wait a second, this feels wrong. This is wrong. We're going to say it's wrong. And yet then the Governor Sununu sent in the state police to arrest them. So what kind of a message are we sending to our children? We're teaching them to have decent moral standards. We're teaching them how to care for others, how to show empathy. And yet when they do show it, we're like, okay, you know what? Let's have you arrested. So across the state, it's just almost numbing. It's if we allow ourselves to understand what's going on, yes, we get so emotional. But it's almost like sometimes on a daily basis, you just feel like lack of power, right? No matter what you're doing, the delegation's not listening to you. Most of the members of the delegation's not listening to you. And this is across the board. This is not just New Hampshire. It's across the country. The president is not listening to you. The senators are not listening to you, Republicans and Democrats, most of them. There have been various Democratic senators who have spoken up. Most of the members of Congress are not listening to you, except for a few Republican Congress members. It was very interesting to see.
What is it, Marjorie Taylor Greene, or was that? It's like, don't make me agree with her, but I will if I have to on this one.
Yes, and then also Representative Massey from Kentucky. He has been very outspoken. So, but what is the job of a senator and a representative? It is to be a public servant. Ultimately, that is the job. It is not a position that you are being, it's not a coronation. You don't, no one deserves to become a senator. No one deserves to be a representative. You're being elected to those positions to represent the people of your constituents. If your constituents are asking you over and over again, we don't want our taxpayer funds to purchase weapons that is being used for human rights violations, please listen to us. I think the representatives and senators should listen. It is not their money. It is all our money, and we should all have a say in it. So yeah, it has been a very difficult 22, 23 months now. And of course, it's hard to say the word difficult when we know what's going on over there, right? The loss of life, the death and destruction. So, but here, of course, our complicity makes it even more, mentally, it's very difficult to grasp this. It's not just our money, but we are actually, in a sense, aiding and abetting this cruelty.
I think a lot of us feel that deeply, and there was a lot of folks in the chat chiming in here, I think are feeling very heard and seen by your level of emotion and appreciative of you're willing to engage and talk on the topic, because I think you're right. You highlight an important issue that I've certainly been feeling this year, of like our representatives at a federal level not engaging with us at all, which is just, it's from the get-go. It felt like we were just calling and not able to, like, what else am I supposed to do? Do you want me to take up residence outside of your office? Like what? And I know some people have to do that to get an answer. One other question I wanted to ask you up at the beginning of this, because I know it's really important to our community, is specifically in New Hampshire, there is a lot. We've had a very difficult year, specifically regarding the queer community and the trans community especially. So can you talk a little bit about your point of view and what you would be doing or what you would like to be doing to support that community right now in New Hampshire especially?
So we have this awesome motto, live free or die. And yet sometimes I'm feeling like some of the rhetoric and some of the legislation, it's really embarrassing when we have this awesome motto and then we're like, mistreating people, violating their privacy, violating their human rights. It's just terrible. So every human being has the right to live the life they want to live. And if anyone needs any kind of care, health care, mental care, that is between the person, the individual, their healthcare providers, and their loved ones. It is not for us to go inside a doctor's office. The other day I was in a doctor's office and I was thinking, I even have some questions. What if, Kelly Ayotte came in here and said, by the way, I don't think you should be getting this care. No, please leave this room. Like, give me the privacy. That's how it is, right? We're basically the legislators are coming into the doctor's room. Our healthcare providers are so highly trained. I mean, we are being so disrespectful to them as well. It is, they should use their education, their training to decide what is best for their patient. The person who needs the care, whatever it might be, reproductive care, transgender care, cancer care. I mean, it's just a healthcare care for their mental health. It is between them, their healthcare provider, and their loved ones. But I do want to tell you one story. The other day I was talking to a father, and his child is, I think it was a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old child, and they're in the process of trying to figure out if they're transitioning, etc. And he said, you cannot imagine, Karishma, how difficult it is just to raise a teenager. And Marissa, I don't know how old your kids are.
She's only 3.
Oh, okay.
I'm bracing myself.
Okay, brace yourself. Enjoy those years. I have a 19-year-old and I have a 16-year-old. The teenage years are just so difficult for a child and the parents and the family and the community. Then on top of it, there's so much more complexity going on with a child who might be considering transitioning or is exploring who they are, what their identity is. It is such a private moment. It is such a delicate moment. And so this father was saying, I am worried about I am just trying to protect my child from not committing suicide. And yet there's so much hatred against my child, my family. And that's giving permission to my child's classmates and neighborhood kids to then pick on my kid, because these kids are learning from the adults, oh, there's something wrong. And so he was just talking about, how do I protect my child? I don't have an answer other than, my God, we have to stop electing people who are not interested in true public service.
No, absolutely. And when it comes to the idea of getting into public service, right? And the idea of connecting to people and the idea of helping. I mean, I can't tell you how much it means for you to be here with us right now, with people on TikTok, moms, regular people who maybe aren't able to see you on TV or aren't able to meet with you somewhere. And I'm curious how you plan on staying connected with voters throughout this process. Not just like, I know fundraising is a big part of campaigns, but with the little people, the people that want to know that, Karishma is running for us here in New Hampshire as New Hampshire resident. She isn't just running for that Senate seat, that federal Senate seat, which a lot of people do feel disconnected with some of our representatives right now. They don't really feel like our representatives, I guess is a good way to say that. So I was wondering what your plans were in terms of strategy to stay connected on the ground level with people like us and people like people in the chat right now.
Okay, so I guess I can answer it in several different ways. But one thing I want to say, yes, I'm the face of the campaign, but this is not my campaign. It's our campaign. You cannot imagine the number of people who are behind me. So I don't know if, Arya, I think you said you had a chance to go to the website.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. That website, I mean, did you see, I don't say my priorities or priorities, I say our. It was a team effort. What are our priorities? What do we want to talk about? So for example, the section on human rights. I had this reread by members of the disability community, members also of the LGBTQ community, and others. Then the section on housing crisis. Okay, no one person can be an expert on all these issues, but there are so many brilliant people right here in New Hampshire who really are invested in solving the housing crisis or solving the healthcare crisis. All I had to do was tap into those resources. So I tapped into people who are housing advocates right here in New Hampshire, and I talked to them. I said, why do we have a housing crisis? I mean, we know our population is growing. There is no reason for the government not to predict what's going to happen and address the problem, address the need even before it becomes a problem. So I tapped into the housing advocates and I showed them my section. One of them gave me really good comments. I updated it, showed it to a couple more housing advocates. So in the process, basically it is a people-powered campaign. And I know you might just say, oh, she's just throwing it out there. There's so many people behind the scenes, so many people. And the reason I'm running, okay, I was a happy scientist. There was no reason for me to leave my science. I had a nice, really good job. My daughter was going to go off to college. There was no reason to basically just turn my life upside down. But the stories that were coming out, Arya, that's what was really hurting me. So I'll just give you a couple of stories. You're in Exeter. And again, I'm going to talk a lot about Exeter because that's my community. But I am, of course, expanding. I'm talking to people across New Hampshire, but a lot of times I need to talk about my own community. One of my best friends, he's a 76-year-old man. He's one of my best friends. He is on Medicare. He's receiving pension and he's receiving Social Security, but he cannot afford the copay on his blood thinner. So he was rationing it and he suffered a stroke. He was hospitalized. He survived. He is now back at work, back in his life, but he could have become one of those numbers. 50,000 Americans die each year. 50,000 Americans die each year. And he did everything right, Arya. He did everything. He raised 4 children. He worked all his life. He paid into Social Security. He saved some money. He paid his taxes. And now these are his golden years. And yet he cannot afford the medicine. So that's one story. In Exeter, people are sleeping in their cars. We are the wealthiest nation on earth. Wall Street is doing so well, stock prices are up, GDP is up. People are sleeping in their cars. Who are we as a nation? You know, I don't remember who said it, but the measure of a society is how we treat the most vulnerable. Well, if that's the measure, we're failing because people are have 2-3 jobs and yet sleep in their cars. Sometimes children are going to school hungry. So these are the stories that made me say, there has to be more because this is not a lack of resources. There are countries in the world that are just, they're poor countries. They cannot provide for their citizen. That is not an issue for us. It's not a lack of resources. It's a lack of political courage. It's a lack of even interest. I'm not even sure how many of the people in Congress actually care or want to care or know to care or they just want to be reelected and then serve their donors, unfortunately.
That's the feeling. I mean, that's the feeling I'm getting right now a lot from a lot of us. I keep saying me. I know a lot of us are feeling this from the Democratic Party. We touched on it a little bit on the Palestine issue where it's not like, I was reading a chart where 2 weeks after October 7th, there was already over 50% support in the Democratic Party to stop weapon transfers to Israel, for example, right? We're 2 years on and we still don't have Democrats, any national Democrats stepping up. That's such a winnable issue. It's like, it's low hanging fruit, right? It's at this point in the game, which is abysmal, but it makes you wonder, are they interested in winning? Or are they interested in keeping that law? I'm not going to keep going. I could go forever about this, and I love that you talked about housing as well. That's how I got involved with New Hampshire politics. I'm a renter. I live in Nashua. It's abysmal here right now. How much I'm paying and how much I've paid over time. And there was one other thing that I wanted to touch on based on the last question I had asked you, which was, and you kind of answered the question I wanted to ask, which was, what was the moment that got you to be like, I don't want to be on the sidelines anymore. I want to jump in. The other part of that question is, and I'm going to ask this to everyone that comes here. What is your issue that you would lose your seat over? What's the issue that is your line in the sand? Something that you won't ever compromise on. It's not something that you'll ever negotiate with. And if someone makes you, like the Democratic Party, you would resign your seat over it, as an example.
Did you ask me 2 questions or was that one question?
It's just the one. Sorry, I went on a rant there. You answered the first one, which was like pretty much,
He lost the thread, but he found it.
Get involved, but I found the second part of my voice.
So what is my red line? Oh my God.
Yeah. So what's your issue? What's your line in the sand issue? The issue that you would potentially lose your seat over.
So I think the most important part of being a public servant is being compassionate. I'm going to just use regular terms. You have to have a heart and soul. I don't want to sell my soul. If any kind of situation arises where it looks like I have to, that is the decision that is need to be made, I'll say, I'm sorry. And that could be right now, like you said, Arya, oh my God, the bar is so low. Let's not kill people. I mean, really?
It's crazy. It's crazy that you have to say that out loud like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to. But just the fact that that comes out of your mouth like it's just crazy. It's what a timeline.
Yeah, what a low-hanging fruit. Let's not kill people. Let's not kill people in America. Let's not kill people abroad. So it's a very low bar. But definitely, if I will never take blood money. War profiteering is a thing in America. Medical murder is a thing in America. It's unbelievable. So I don't know if I guess I will never sell my soul if I.
No,
I think not everybody's not everybody's saying that. It's we're in that kind of. Sorry I stepped on you, Arya. Go ahead and wrap up your thought.
Yeah. No. I was just gonna say that's perfect. I mean, most people the way they beat around the bush on that question, or on the issue of campaign financing, and you have already, like, we didn't ask you yet if you were not going to take APAC money. You took that question from the chat on your own.
Popped up. I saw that.
I'm looking. That's what everyone in the chat noticed. That, Karishma, like that we noticed these things because these are very important things that no one else in the Democratic Party is talking about right now, which is insane. It's like we're all going crazy out here.
So speaking of all of us losing our minds a little bit, I think it's funny, we're on this, I know you're new to TikTok, so we're so happy to have you here. We're a weird little bunch of people, and we're all just kind of sharing our thoughts and like processing through this moment together via these little videos. Like that's kind of what's happening. And it's definitely been like a blessing in my life to kind of process through all of this with my New Hampshire friends. But as all these things are happening, I think this group is especially attuned to everything that is sort of falling apart from a federal level right now, and the militarization that we're seeing happening across our cities is obviously like deeply concerning. And I think this group is tracking all of that very carefully. So one of the things that you've talked about, this sort of theme of political courage has come up a few times. I think a couple of questions here, and you can kind of take it where you want. But I think my first question is, what would you be doing right now, today, if you were in the Senate seat right now? How would that look different from what Chris Pappas has been doing? Although I guess he's not in Senate, but you understand what I'm saying. If you had a position, that type of leadership position, what would you be doing with it? And two, what do you think that we should be doing as residents of New Hampshire? How should we be pushing back against the rise of fascism in the U.S.?
I know. I'm so glad you said that you used the term fascism, because a lot of people are not owning up to what's going on. So Marissa, congratulations. Seriously, people are like, oh, it's a distraction. It is not a distraction. Oh, let me write a carefully worded letter to the Secretary of Defense. What? Those days are over. Oh my God, the National Guard is in the Capitol. Why? And now it's basically, he's threatening Donald Trump. Donald Trump, who has been in our head for 9 years now? Please, talk about mental health problems when somebody like that is in your head 9 years running. He is abusing his power day in, day out. Those executive orders are out of control. Any conservative who's listening to this is not conservative behavior. Conservatives are supposed to have limited government. Look at what Donald Trump is doing. He is, not only has he, of course, brought in the National Guards into DC right now, he is attacking the Smithsonian museums. He's attacking Kennedy Center of Arts. He's attacking the universities. He's even telling the universities which international students can get admitted or not. He's attacking the sciences, National Science Foundation, NIH. He's attacking CDC. Talk about overreach and abuse of executive power. So as one center voice is not enough to basically change the course of what's going on. But speak up. Speak up. You took an oath to the Constitution. This is a constitutional violation. Speak up. You might be the only one out of well, Bernie's talking. So, okay, you'll have at least Bernie with you. And then I'll have Bernie with me. There's a few, Chris Murphy's talking about it. There's a few great senators who are really speaking up. Join that. Help people understand what's going on. A lot of Americans are still not sure. Like you use the word fascism. We're not using it. Media are not using it. Speak up, when you see injustice or violation, first of all, try to stop it. If you can't stop it, at least speak up about it. But what can we do? So I don't have a position of power right now. I'm one of the people. I guess the judiciary, unfortunately, is not doing its job, right? I mean, it's really sad. The Supreme Court Justice, the Chief Justice Roberts, has basically weakened the Supreme Court. First of all, it's not standing up to protect the lower courts. The judges are being threatened by Donald Trump with impeachment, like being jailed, whatever threats come out of his head. and the Chief Justice is not protecting them. So number one. The other was the Trump v. United States. That Supreme Court decision basically said he's immune. Presidents are immune. What? No. Presidents should not be immune to abuse. I mean, we should have checks and balances. We should be able to control they should not get out of the jail.
Get out of jail free, literally.
Yeah. Exactly.
A little on the nose.
A little on the nose. So let's see. But right now we are the people. What can we do? We've given up on the Congress. We've given up on the judiciary. We've given up. The executive branch is the troublemaker. So it's up to our people. 5051 is a great example of an organization that's trying to basically encourage people to unite, organize, mobilize. A lot of the UU churches here in New Hampshire, UCC churches, Kent Street Coalition, I'm going to plug them because they're an awesome organization. There are Open Democracy. There's a lot of organizations basically trying to say, let's inform our public, let's unite, let's organize, let's mobilize, because we have to speak up. People are the only thing left. Our checks and balances, my God, in 8 months? We've lost all those checks and balances. So it's the people that we just have to rise up and take back our power. But there are some people, like for example, Governor Pritzker, he spoke out. That was great. Governor Newsom, he's interesting. I don't know what he's doing, but at least he's doing something.
It's flashy.
It's flashy. It's good. It's good. I don't know where that's going. But it's good. But also, let's also hold the Republicans responsible. We always criticize the Democrats. Oh, why are the Democrats not standing up? Why are the Democrats not acting like an opposition? I'm sorry, but let's talk about the Republicans. Why are you letting it slide? What is at the top of your list? Not country? Is it a person that's on the top of your list? Then you are also basically not maintaining, standing up to the oath that you took. And so, it's just people that's left.
You know, somebody just mentioned this, and then I'm going to hand it over to Arya for the next question after this. But somebody in the chat was asked, mentioned our own governor in New Hampshire is not trustworthy to me, is what somebody just said. And I think that, what would you like to see the governor of New Hampshire in general doing in this moment?
The governor of New Hampshire has to listen to the people of New Hampshire. The governor of New Hampshire has to basically adhere to the Constitution. It is not a suggestion. It is not a suggestion. She has to partner with the other governors from the neighboring states, basically, and protect us. People are going to lose Medicaid in New Hampshire. Our federal dollars are drying up. We have now, a $15.8 billion budget for 2 years. Cuts to arts, cuts to rural hospitals are getting shut down. There's so many ways we're suffering here in New Hampshire. And our governor almost seems like business as usual. I'm not sure where that's going. So I hope that at the end of the day, they should all act like public servants. If the public is saying, act on our behalf, protect us, that is their job. And it should not be party affiliations or, plans down the road. I want to have a cabinet position or whatever else that motivates these people. They should just not think about money. A true public servant should not be thinking about money or their next election. A true public servant should be thinking about their people, how to protect their people, how to make them live and thrive.
No, that's great. And if it's okay with you, I would love to ask some questions from chat that I wrote down here from some of the chatters here. And just to piggyback on what Marissa said, and the last thing you said, just quickly before I ask those questions, how do you, so we have to get out there, vote, we have to organize, we have to, the whole shebang. There is a population of people right now, and I sense it in my orbit at least, and I sense a little bit of it online, and there's this palpable fear, right? Where it's and it's hard not to be scared when you're looking at the news, when you're looking at the masked, military walking down the streets like it's Baghdad in Massachusetts. How do you convince people who are maybe getting paralyzed by the fear, or they're getting to the point where they do not think that their electoral vote or their, I guess, their participation is going to affect anything. What's your message to them? How do you, like, if you had like one sentence to tell them, or half a paragraph, what is your way to get them onto the street, get them excited again? Because right now, I mean, the only people that are polling worse than Donald Trump are the Democrats, right? It's a very somber place to be right now when you're in the resistance. So how do you excite people to be like, you know what, it's not over. It's not, the fight is just beginning, and, convince them to stay in the fight.
Yeah, so apathy is not an option. Sorry. This is not the time to say, oh, you know what, see you next year. No, today. This is it. Action is today. Roll up our sleeves, get to work, however you can. I mean, there are people who are spending hours of their life just trying to feed their family. Let's leave those people alone. They have enough going on. But anyone who has an opportunity, weekends, evenings, read up, write to your Congress members. I know that sometimes feels like a dead end, but still, write to them. The more they hear, if 10,000 phone calls come in, 100,000 phone calls come in, they will most probably feel a little pressure. So I don't have one word I can use. Arya, you asked me to do one word, but basically,
a sentence, or like half a paragraph, something, just like one, like a, on a poster or something. How do you get people just not giving up on it?
Reclaim our power.
I like it. I mean, it's strong. It's fighting. It's assertive, for sure. Just really quickly, there's a couple questions on LGBTQ and trans rights.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on those? How do you plan on protecting those? Your position on those here in New Hampshire?
I did answer that earlier, but was it something specific?
It was.
Sorry.
Oh, I must have missed it. I must have missed the part. I must have seen these questions after you had answered that. That's totally my fault here. And then the one other question I had here, a little bit about your. Sorry. Actually, I'm going to give it off to Marissa. I know she's got something ready to go.
I'm a lot of questions. So
frazzled here. Yeah, for a second.
Yeah. No, I wanted to talk a little bit about something I've been talking about personally on here the last couple of days. Is we've seen a lot of ICE activity ramping up in New Hampshire. I live in Dover. I live near the Pease Airport. I have been hearing a lot more transport going on, a lot. And I've been hearing a lot of really just distressing firsthand stories of people that are being taken from their communities without due process. And I think, we've kind of, the three of us all are very aligned on like, this is a crazy moment, and like these are very crazy things that are happening. But it does feel like with this topic, especially, like people don't know that it's happening. Can you talk a little bit about what you're hearing in your conversations with the community about how ICE activity is already impacting us here, and what do you want to do to protect the residents of New Hampshire?
Yeah. So one thing I want to say. We are taught to respect our law enforcement. They have awesome power, right? And we respect it. And the people who are in ICE now, they're covering up their faces. They don't have any insignia. We don't even know who they are. In a courtroom, if you are given the due process and you do ever see a judge, you should be able to say who your arresting officer was. It was the guy with the brown mask. Oh no, the other guy with the other brown mask. Like, no, the power is being taken away from the people. There is no arrest warrant, no legal arrest warrants are coming out. People are going to, these ICE agents are going to like Home Depot, hardware stores, places of construction, farms. I just heard a crazy story that 2 firefighters over in Washington were just arrested by ICE while they're in the middle of fighting a wildfire. They're just being grabbed. And sometimes it is pure racism. Because we're being picked basically on the color of our skin. And there's so much wrong in that. So, but it is very fearful. I actually, in my cell phone, my cell phone's here, that's why it's not there. I started carrying my passport card, my passport ID. I'm brown. I don't want to be picked up. And if I am picked up, I want to be able to quickly say, not 24 hours after detention or 48 hours, I've been carrying around my passport card. And I'm sorry, I don't want to put fear into people. Just because I'm doing it does not mean that others should do it. But I feel very uncomfortable. And I've also programmed numbers where there's like ICE alerts. So yes, I actually share in that fear. It is not cool. People should not, in masked, armed, militia-style people coming in unmarked cars and in Humvees suddenly push a car off the street and grab a mom while their children are crying, or grabbed a dad on his way to daycare and the child is crying. These are unacceptable. I mean, absolutely unacceptable. Why is Donald Trump doing this? It is to put fear in us, right? It is not about law enforcement. Our laws are very clear. If you break a law, the prosecutors can provide the evidence to a judge. There's going to be a legal warrant will be issued, and you will be arrested. And then, of course, you're given due process. You have your day in court. You have a right to see the evidence. You're not just shipped off somewhere to a foreign country that you don't know. None of this. Why is he doing this? This is so 1930s Germany, I swear. It is, and then, so there's that factor that he's just trying to make us feel very anxious and afraid of each other. The other crazy part of it is those detention centers are all for profit. Those are billionaire-owned detention centers. So it's almost like a little side business going on. Like, let's spend, yes, there's some cruelty, but we're going to have fun because those tweets from, the Secretary Noem? Oh,
Christy Noem, yeah. I can't, it's really like the lack of, it feels like the dehumanizing is the point at this point. And the profiting off of it feels like it's the point. And I keep saying these facilities are going to be, they're already a national shame, right? Like, we should be horrified by the fact that this is happening. So,
and people are making money off other people's cruelty against other people. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good to hear you speak out against that. Is there anything specific in terms of policy that you would like to see changed?
I think we touched on it at the very. Is this about ICE or in general?
About ICE specifically.
Can we go back to the way we were? When we actually cared about law and order and law enforcement. Of course, if somebody breaks a law, there was a process to basically, like I said, people who break laws should be prosecuted, and none of us are saying that is not going to that we're not trying to defend that or speak out against it. What we're speaking out against is all this extrajudicial arrests, extrajudicial cruelty, and tearing families apart and shipping people out. I think the Congress should do more. Republicans and Democrats. I'm not letting the Republicans off the hook. I'm sorry. I am from the Democratic faction of the Democratic Party. It's a big umbrella, but the Republicans, if you're elected to that position, it's also your job to protect the American people against foreign adversaries or domestic adversaries. So, what else? I guess that's all I can say. It's a terrible situation. I'm really, it's awful.
Yeah, I think your point about the pushing Republicans to is important, because I think we're so quick to be like, well, they're a lost cause, but I think that we can't just let that be the case, right? We need to push harder on all of our representatives up and down the ballot. So we're going to try to wrap up here in a couple minutes. We're coming up to about an hour. I wanted to do two things. I want to give you an opportunity to sort of say if there's any other issues that we didn't get a chance to touch on that you want to make sure to mention. But I also want to do like a quick little recap, because I know a lot of people came in late. So in sort of a rapid fire, I'm going to ask you a couple questions in like rapid fire format. We just had one come in. Talk a little bit about preserving women's rights. We have a father of a young daughter here. Talk a little bit about your opinions on That's weird. I just have I think TikTok thinks I'm like spamming or something right now. Hold on one second. I have to do a reCAPTCHA right now,
Yes.
like for real. Okay, let me try to ask that question again so we can use the clip.
Pro-choice.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm a woman. It doesn't matter. Every human being has a right over their own body. Whether it's whatever gender you are, it is your right to care for your own body. It's a human right issue. I'm pro-choice.
Awesome. And in a similar vein, talk a little bit about your support for the trans community.
We should really, this is a divisive issue that is being created by Donald Trump. There's no other reason but just to try to divide us. He wants us to hate each other. He wants us to tear us apart. Today it's one group, tomorrow it'll be another group. And this has been going on. This is like really a cheap ploy that's been used by many politicians over the years and in many countries. Transgender members of our community are human beings. They are our uncles, aunts, our children, our nieces, nephews, our loved ones. They are our friends of our kids. Let us all stop hating each other. Let us stop allowing the politicians to divide us. Let us protect each other. Every person deserves the right to live and thrive, no matter who they are. And so that is our duty.
I love that. And then, so we did not touch on gun rights earlier, but somebody did just ask that in the chat. And I think that's sort of an important question here in New Hampshire, especially, obviously we have yet another tragedy here in America happening this week that, I know is certainly hitting a lot of folks in my circles really hard emotionally. So talk a little bit about your perspective on gun ownership rights in the U.S.
I'll say it in a different way because in Exeter in the March 2025, I actually had 5 ballot measures in the town election, and one was about basically the lives that we're losing from gun violence. So let me just throw this number out. I'm a scientist. I love data. I don't want to geek out, but I have to a little bit. We lose on an average year about 45,000 Americans. 45,000 Americans, Marissa, to suicide, homicide, and accidental deaths. Whether you are a gun owner or you're not a gun owner, whether you have a secret permit, whatever
concealed carry,
concealed permit. Just for a second, say, is this an acceptable number? Then tell me if it's not acceptable, what should we do about it? And I'll leave it at that. Because when you talk to people in this way, you allow them to tell you, is this acceptable? And most people will say, no, it is not acceptable. So, and we can actually put in a lot of gun safety, we can incorporate safety measures. So for example, the ones we talked about in the Exeter town election were trigger resistant, so that a child, a 3-year-old or 4-year-old cannot just pick up a gun that's just laying around and shoot another person. It just has a little bit more resistance. That's just a simple safety measure. You're talking about saving lives. If there's a bullet in the chamber, you can have an indicator that just lets you know that there's a bullet in the chamber, so that you might be cleaning it without realizing it, and accidental death. The other thing is we can actually have we have fingerprints to open our smartphones. You can actually have that on guns. That will basically stop people from stealing guns and using it in homicides. 20,000 people per year are killed in homicides, and most of those weapons are actually stolen weapons. But what if they had a fingerprint, like a thumb scan? It would just lock. These are safety measures. These are just common sense safety measures. We don't have to do much. All we have to do is just put these safety measures into the guns. Then, of course, there's other issues that you can talk about. But seriously, 45,000 Americans dying each year, I think that's a number we should all talk about.
Absolutely. And quickly, I know we talked about it before, but your stance on APAC money and corporate funding, super PAC money, dark money, what are your thoughts on that?
APAC money, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking APAC money.
You hear that, everyone? No APAC money, everyone.
No APAC money, people.
I need somebody on your team to design that, just like social media infographic. Just
no
that's like
APAC money. I should have that
big
back here. No APAC money. Okay. Number 2, corporate PACs. No corporate PACs. I'm not taking a dime from corporate PACs. And so we are going to be a grassroots campaign. We are only accepting small dollar donations, and that's how we're going to power ourselves. And so I think that the big problem is dark money in politics. I'm a part of Open Democracy. I did say I was going to talk about Open Democracy, but I forgot. Granny V. Haddock is New Hampshire. A lot of people from New Hampshire know her. At age 89, she walked from California to DC, basically talking about dark money, how it's basically threatening our democracy. I'm a member of that organization. I'm on the board of that organization. We are against dark money in politics. That is the greatest threat to our democracy. So no, I'm not going to turn around on the board and then take dark money. No.
I love that. So last question for you. I just wanted to give you kind of a minute to wrap up and let us know, are there any other issues that are super near and dear to your heart? Or is there anything, if people are coming in late to this, joining the last 10 or 15 minutes, what do you want people to take away from this, if this is their first exposure to you? What do they want? What do you want them to know?
I'll just say two things. One, actually, before I do my little pitch, one thing I want to tell you. At this moment in the United States Senate, there is not a single PhD scientist. And in the history of the United States Senate, there has been only one PhD scientist. Think about that. One.
That's shocking.
It is shocking, Marissa.
Wow.
A geologist was a senator back in the 1970s. That's it.
What?
When elected, I will be only the second PhD scientist in the United States Senate, and I'll be the first female PhD scientist in the Senate. So yay, let's go.
That's really cool.
And that's why you see what RFK Jr. is doing. Oh my God, what Stephen Miller is doing. They're just trashing science. They're lying about data. They're vaccines. They're criticizing vaccines. They're criticizing medical research. They're rewriting the results of these studies. And why are they getting away with it? Because we need a PhD scientist, people, in the Senate. Let's see. As far as the pitch is concerned, whenever I'm talking to people across New Hampshire, of course, we talked about some serious issues, some serious foreign policy issues, but most of the time I'm hearing about the housing crisis, the childcare crisis, and the healthcare crisis. People are suffering in New Hampshire. These are issues that have been there for several years, and the current set of lawmakers are not brought us to this point. They're not going to be the ones who will take us out of this point. We need fresh leadership. We need bold leaders who will actually have the political courage to put forth great legislation and have the political courage to pass it. So I hope I get your vote, and please visit my website, karishmaforsenate.com. Please look at it. Please look at our policies page. We're trying to be absolutely transparent where we stand. If you see any issues, if you want to see more information or questions, you can reach us at info@karishmaforsenate.com. Please consider donating. Please at least consider signing up. We need volunteers. We would love to have more support. So thank you so much, Marissa, and thank you, Arya, and thank you everyone else who listened.
Well, thank you so much for this conversation. I really appreciate your candor and your honesty and your directness. It's super refreshing. And thank you for taking the time to answer all of our questions and all of all the questions from the chat. And folks, make sure you're following her on TikTok as well. She's just getting started on here. So show her a nice NH Talk welcome. And we'll chat with you guys soon. And I'm looking forward to following the rest of the campaign.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Marissa. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, guys. All right. Have a good night, both of you. I'll talk to you soon. We'll post clips of this soon. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.